Hello everybody, this is Conquering History Games, and welcome back to part 4 of my combined Syndicates of America playthrough here in Hearts of Iron 4 Kaiserreich version 0.8. So I've been saying that I'm going to try to spend a little more time talking about the people in this world, some of the lesser known ones. So today I'm going to talk about two people in particular here in the combined Syndicates who fight for them, or I should say are in the government. I really should have done this last episode considering what the ending song was, but let's talk about exactly who Elizabeth Gurley Flynn here is. So she's the person who's the head of government. I guess Jack Reed is the figurehead more than anything during this time. So funny, I've been checking out a lot of books in my local library trying to learn more about these people, and I found a couple of an autobiography as well as a regular biography of Elizabeth Gurley Flynn, and very, very interesting woman. I just thought I'd first read this quote, which I think sums her up pretty well. I spoke at the funerals of men and women shot down on the picket line, and the iron entered my soul. I became and I remain a mortal enemy of capitalism. I will never rest contented until I see it replaced by a government of the people, led by the working class, where private ownership of the means of life and the profit system is abolished. So that's something that she actually said. So Elizabeth Gurley Flynn, she was somebody who obviously was around in the early 1900s. She got started with her protesting ways pretty early. Like her first speech, I think, was at 15 or 16. But one of the things, some of the most interesting things about her, first off, she is actually the rebel girl. The song by Joe Hill, "The Rebel Girl, the Rebel Girl," it's for her, and I've actually found and looked at a photocopy of what's supposed to be the original music. Like, he's got his bars and he's written the notes and the words and stuff, and it's dead. And he sent her he wrote it, to Elizabeth Gurley Flynn. So I think at the time, let's see, I think he wrote that in 1905, so she would have been about 26 at the time. But something I thought was interesting going through these biographies about her is it makes more sense than ever that the CSA is so powerful in this timeline because the United States never enters World War One. Because something I thought the most interesting sections were after World War One breaks out and Elizabeth, she becomes victim, and people she knows becomes victims to violence that happened with the outbreak of the war, or I shouldn't say the outbreak of the war, when America joins the war. Now this was violence against the German, the Irish, socialists, industrial workers of the world, workers, white people too. There were white people who were attacked, ministers, black people, just like a lot of mob violence happening in the pardon me, in the outbreak of war. And we're talking about different types of violence. People were tarred and feathered, they were driven out of town. This is not something I guess you can consider to be violent, but people would be forced to spend money on war bonds, and of course good old-fashioned American lynching. So, like, there was a lot of stuff going on. So, for example, some miners went on strike, saying that they wanted the unions to get supervisory role over the safety conditions, because, like, you'd have cases where, like, there were a couple of incidents where miners burned alive inside the mines, and then, like, the companies were doing things like they would throw, like, I think it was in New Mexico, or it might have been in Arizona, where they rounded up a bunch of the miners, threw them in a train car, drove the train out into the middle of the desert, and just left it there. Oh, they also filled it with shit. I should say that, too. And then, like, somebody reported it to the authorities, and then the U.S. Army came and got them out. But things like that, or, like, putting them in trains, driving them across state lines, opening them, letting them out, and just, like, so you're just driving your workers to another state and abandoning them there. Things like that. And one thing, this is kind of a cute story. It's a sad story, but she had a friend called Frank Little who got lynched, and he was Native American, so he used to say, "I'm a real American and a real red." So that's kind of funny in a sad way. And so anyway, Elizabeth was repeatedly arrested in the post-World War One, entering World War One period, and the IWW get really she was really upset about this because the IWW was crippled by this Red Scare that was going through, but also she felt that it was getting, quote, gripped by the leftists of the most extreme type. So basically, she was kind of a moderate socialist, it seems, early in her life. She later did join the communists, but she just did that because she felt that she had to change the Communist Party from within, but she certainly did not like those sorts of people. Um, and again, like the left in America got really crippled during this time because this is when Eugene Debs goes to jail. Emma Goldman, Alexander Berkman get arrested. Alexander Berkman is, of course, the one who gets an event earlier in this. And like he got deported after he served his prison time. So that's the sort of stuff that's going on. So that's who Elizabeth Gurley Flynn is, the actual rebel girl and somebody who could potentially be a leader of the CSA. Will she? I don't know. Let's wait and find out. Now, I know I did also say I was going to talk about one of the generals in each of these. I'm going to talk about Joseph here towards the end of the video. Really interesting dude. Anyway, oh! Sorry I dropped the mic, but it should be okay. Just adjust it. All right, hopefully the audio didn't sound all weird there. So anyway, let's get back to the war effort. Oh, there was just one more thing I wanted to do. Where's Oliver? Yeah, I wanted to rename Oliver here. Instead of Oliver Law, we're gonna call this Oliver's Lambs, because they don't fight, they just sit there at the border. They're just lambs. Okay, now we're doing a good push here into the Carolinas. A little bit of an overlap between the armies of Red Virginia and the New England forces. Let's maybe bring this down a little. Shoot, just accidentally. That's not what I meant to do. Delete that. Here we go. Yeah, tighten it up. And we did get one of their tank divisions wrapped up here, which is good too. Yeah, Edward Carter and his his weird tank guys. Oh, speaking of tank guys, where's Maurice Rose? I don't have enough command power to promote him, but I'm going to promote him to be a field marshal since he's a brilliant strategist over my tank divisions later. Which I know that Carter is not a part of right now, but I'll reorganize later. There's not a real rush. What we can do with these motorized divisions is let's try to quickly get moving down towards Miami, because once we take Florida, we're going to have a much shorter front that we're dealing with. Oh, let's hit the Wildcats move a little bit forward, just a pinch more forward. Of course, we have to be constantly vigilant about the Canadian intervention happening. They don't have very many divisions, though, or if they do, they're off fighting some other war. So I think whenever they intervene, we're just going to have to move quickly. But like, let's take a look at the People's Fist here. They've got no tanks. I've been seeing a lot of people online complaining about the combined syndicates starting with tanks, but they don't. Like, what are you guys talking about? They don't. And really, that's kind of nonsense. I guess it could be an advantage because they start with the template, but at that point, you're just reaching. Hold on a sec. And I can't even build tanks right now. I could build some light tanks. No, I can't. Never mind. Never mind. So we just got empty divisions out there. They're really just glorified infantry. Not that the infantry shouldn't be glorified. Okay, next up, small unit tactics. Small unit tactics is used by the communards during the French Revolution, inspires our own. We will outmaneuver the Federalist and reactionary forces and destroy their supply lines. Okay. Sounds good to me. Keep moving down here. Past Columbia. We really have got to secure Florida. Faster the better. Oh, Milton Wolfe's ready to get an upgrade. Yeah, I guess Maurice Rose, he could wait. You know, we probably won't do the Maurice Rose thing until after the war. So Milton Wolfe, who I already talked about, I think I did last episode, he's ready to go. And could we march successfully to Atlanta? Now, if we can get St. Louis, that would be terrific, but I don't think they're going to let me. How's the Pacific States doing? They're doing okay. George Cannon got wounded. You know, that trick, the Midwest, the Siberia of the United States, right? All right, stop it. Stop attacking here. There goes Korea. Obviously, the faster we advance, the better. I would like at least for the American Union state to be defeated before a Canadian intervention happens, and I'm sure said invasion is going to happen. I feel it in my bones. I've seen it in my mind's eye, like it's a memory that's already happened. Let's come down here. Alright, you guys start heading towards Biloxi. Okay, delete that. Much better. Oh, all of them. They got the sign down there. Sure, just go. Go, 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 go. Yep, they're abandoning Colombia. Slow and steady, though. I don't want to rush it. I mean, meaning I don't want to rush the speed. I'm going to keep it at speed 3 for now. They are not... Yeah, those Russian volunteers are not going to let me in. That's okay. Oh, did they? Oh, shoot! I missed the opportunity. They had left a gap there. What are we gonna do with you, Holdridge? Maybe I could at least go to 4 speed. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like they just abandoned Florida. Fantastic! Love it. Yep, and they keep... Yep, they're falling back. They continue to fall back. It looks like the USA is pushing pretty hard on them. I'm not sure who I want to get eliminated. I suppose I would want the United States to capitulate, so we should be rooting a bit for the Pacific states. Frank Merriman's in charge. The Democrat who's a Republican, or the Republican who's a Democrat? I don't know. What's up with that? Go watch my Pacific States of America campaign if you don't know what I'm talking about. But can't trust Merriman. Can't even pick a party. How are we doing here? We're really short on the heavy tanks. That's going to be that way for a while. Motorized. Yeah, I think we just got to continue to just dump everything in there. Into infantry equipment. Get it wherever we can. Alright, we're still moving along the Gulf Coast pretty quickly. Let's try to concentrate these divisions some more. Okay, in fact, you're no longer New England. You are Gulf. Oops. Gulf Coast Army Group. There goes Milton Wolfe. He's the one he's got the reckless thing, doesn't he? No? No, yeah, it's Maurice. He's the one who's reckless. Reckless, feckless. All right, pin these guys. Okay, Miami is hanging in there. Counter-revolution just happened in Tilly, although it was viewed as the most successful bastion of syndicalism and socialism in America. Clearly no more. Valderrama has taken control. How are we doing as far as casualties go? So we've taken about 149,000. American Union State has taken 116,000, but the United States has taken almost 1 million. All these men who must die because of these tyrants. You hate to see it happen. Let's try to rush Orleans, or at least, you know, it's getting us through the coast here. Yeah, get this real short front here. Yeah. I'd love it if we can get down into Alabama here and cut off these divisions there, but if they are insisting in hanging out in that salient and letting everybody else rush through, I'm sure not going to stop them. Okay, there we go. We finally met a little bit of resistance here. How are these guys doing? I still have them. No, they actually don't have an order. Okay, let's do something like that. We can give them a new trait? No, not really. It's already at level 4. Nice. Okay, how's this looking? Pretty good. A lot of the Floridians are getting reassigned now, and let's get the People's Fist right there. And on our way. Of course, we're also dealing with some resistance to occupation. So what I might need to do here at some point is... Should I even bother? No, there's already so much that needs to be repaired. It's going to take forever. I've only got 16 civilian factories. Yeah, I don't think there's any real point in garrisoning those areas against military occupation. At least not until the American Union State. If the American Union State's done, I'm on the western Mississippi. Maybe I could spend a little bit of time doing that, but mostly I think we're fine. All right, Milton's looking good. Can we get aid the attack this way? All right, mass assault complete. Let's quickly start knocking out all these land doctrines. Great. Terrific. Over here, it's only 1937, so it's still a bit too early to get that stuff. Let's grab the machine tools then. We got this guy surrounded here in Biloxi. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh, organization's low. Now they're going to be fine. And we're going to just hold on to political power. I don't think there's anything worth spending it on during the war. Nothing comes to mind, so I'd rather just hold on to it because I'm sure we're going to need plenty of it after the war. We're going to have to deal with, you know, the terrorists and, goodness, who else? Yeah, we're going to have the terrorists to deal with. We're going to have to do recoring, repair, reconstruction. There's probably, because it's Kaiserreich, going to be decisions that hurt my political power, things like that. Let's take this guy out. How much political power am I getting a day? 0.66. Not too bad. Yeah, I'm pretty popular. 62% popularity for syndicalists. So yeah, it's pretty good. Come on, take out this Biloxi division. Start making our way west. How much longer here? Less than a day. Okay. Just waiting for Canada. I'm waiting for Canada to get involved and make my life a whole lot harder. Who are they fighting? They're fighting the Princely Federation, and there's that uprising in North Africa. Okay, so they probably won't get involved until at least the Tuareg Confederation has been taken care of. Possibly also the Princely Federation under Ali Khan. So that should buy me a bit of time. Although, like I've said before, it's a really... I like the Canadian intervention. I think it's very interesting as far as the risk-reward goes. Because, like, if Canada intervenes, you got to figure in their own minds that, like, it's a done deal. And it's true. You see it happen with AI all the time. The Canadians intervene, and the CSA just loses. Because they're just getting hit from the north all of a sudden, and the entire Entente is coming at them. But the risk with Canada intervening is that they will, if Canada falls, the Entente dissolves. So, because Edward has to flee, and the Entente just loses all semblance of legitimacy, of being, there's no, it's completely not a world power at all. Nobody cares about it, and so France and the Dominion and all the Australasians and everybody else, they lose their factions, and they lose the Entente as a faction option and become completely independent. So the Entente could be destroyed in like 1937, 1938. All right, expand the National Guard. From these humble National Guards comes multitudes of volunteers, all instructed on the proper wartime behavior along with military training. Gives me additional attack and defense on core territory, more organization, and plus 40% planning speed. Excellent. So I think right now I'm at minus 50%. So then I'll just be at minus 10 and minus 10 for organization and planning speed, but that's I could live with it. The minus 50% hurts. Okay, can we sneak on down to Houston? Okay, trying to keep an eye on the front line everywhere. Nice, we've got some Lend-Lease coming in. Very good, very good. Am I not gaining political power? Am I crazy? Elizabeth Gurley Flynn is giving us some more. But this needs to be fixed urgently. Central Committee Directive number 1231, establishment of the Committee for Intelligent Activities. It is an unfortunate fact that there are spies and saboteurs within our territory working to prevent glorious liberation of the proletarian masses. One of the many proposals submitted to the Central Committee, one stands out. Earl Browder's proposal is to create a committee to enforce revolutionary order and stop counter-revolutionary sabotage. However, others within the Central Committee, including Chairman Reed, wonder if this is a necessary step and if we would be betraying our ideals, regardless of vote was taken, what was decided. So we can have totalists become more popular, or the radical socialists become more popular. So I think I said this in an earlier episode, but I am going to be going down Commonwealth of Labor. I do at some point in the future plan to do Union of Socialist American States, and pick either Foster or Browder, because that's a really interesting rivalry going on there, and really it's a completely different country than if you go down the Commonwealth of Labor route. Definitely worth something that, like, going through the early Civil War all over again, just so I can roleplay as going totalist instead of either syndicalists or radical socialists. So look out for that in the future. But we're not doing the totalists today, so we are going to say it's not necessary and get that war support, and that puts us at 100%. Excellent. We're actually still mobilizing. I think it's because we're taking these colonies or something. Fall of New Orleans. Syndicate militias have been pushing towards the city of New Orleans for a while now. Reports are now coming in of the city's imminent capture by advancing militias. Huey Long's current whereabouts are unknown, but it is believed he was rapidly evacuated to the countryside. Disturbing news reports that Union representatives and Minutemen are being lynched by mobs in the streets, and that the city has been thoroughly sacked, with fires spreading through downtown areas. Is this the end of the reactionary uprising in America? The Union stronghold has fallen. Yeah, that's the second time lynching has been brought up in this episode, so I think I'll talk about it a little bit. So, I was once looking into the history of lynching, and it's kind of interesting in the United States. Now, if you were to ask your average American what they think when they think of lynching, they're going to think of black people getting hung, and that is certainly what happened. But it does have roots that go much earlier than that. Nice, look at this encirclement. Oh, beautiful, just beautiful. It goes back further than that, into like the 1700s, the colonial period, even, with just kind of community-led justice for perceived offenses. And so really, even though when you think of lynching as something that happened, that's an act committed by white people against black people aren't the majority ethnicity that's lynched in the United States until the late 1800s, so like 30 years after the Civil War has already ended. Okay, Red Terror. War is hell. Civil War even more so. The psychological strain caused by having to repeatedly kill, even if the enemy are capitalist lapdogs, has caused some of our soldiers and commanders to become sadistic beyond what some consider to be acceptable. Although not commonplace, reports of systemic mass executions and torture are being reported from both the front lines and core territories to suppress populations suspected of aiding the capitalists. Perhaps these tactics are necessary, but it leaves a sour taste in the mouths of the idealistic members of the Central Committee. A revolution is not a dinner party. Yeah, that's for sure. Like, I've also been studying the Spanish Civil War a lot recently, and it's like I didn't really know much about it, and the more deeper I get into it, it's like, hey, it's like, oh wow, look at these awful atrocities that the nationalists were committing during the war. They were executing anybody who was potentially suspected of being a socialist or a unionist or a communist or anything like that. And then meanwhile, let's check in on the Republican side, right? Oh my God, they're killing priests, they're killing nuns, and it's just it's bad news all around. A lot of atrocities happening. It ain't a tea party, that's for sure. Who said that? I think that's a Mao Zedong quote. Revolution's not a tea party. He's Chinese, they drink a lot of tea, right? Right? No. Okay, what's this? Alright, this George Cannon up here, you need to stop. And I'm kind of running into a problem where I can't actually upgrade these guys. See, like here. Oh, I can. Give him camouflage expert, maybe? Paratroopers. Yeah, if anything, Joseph here should be the commando. And I'll talk about him in a little bit. He's the guy I'm going to talk about today. But is he one? No, he should be, and you'll know why. So he can get the paratrooper thing. How's this looking? All right, we're filling in all these gaps. We got 102 factories. That's good. Much, much more than the United States has. I think right now the Pacific states are the strongest faction besides me. And they get pretty strong. They've been strong for a while, even before this rework. They get a lot of divisions these days. Nice. Got another encirclement by Nashville. Oh wait, we gotta put some pressure on them though. They're about to get relieved. Oh wait, no, can we shoot? No. Stop those two. And you guys put the pressure on them in this Nashville pocket. Okay. Okay, keep pressing them. Keep pressing them. Like, the attrition's gonna do it, but you gotta work for it a little. Okay. Oh, we gotta get over the river. Get over the river, get over the river, get over the river. Quickly, quickly, quickly. Don't want to be caught here in South Texas. Dang it! Oh, jeez. Let's come over here like that. Oh, I've got the command points. Let's go ahead and promote Rose here. So he's going to be our field marshal in this section. Yeah. More resistance to occupation. Loving all these green bubbles. Love how they're just continuing to try to push back in the Midwest. It ain't happening though, brudda. It's not happening, MacArthur. You and your junta are doomed. See, they got a ton of divisions though. They still have more than me, for sure. The United States, that is. Let's come here. Wait, no, you pinch this guy. Alright, heavy tanks are almost ready to go. So we're still in September of 37. Construction's not going to help me much. Land doctrine's already being worked on. I guess let's just take these even though it's ahead of time. Now we could get the heavy tank here loaded up. Let's do something like that. How's that feel? Ooh, lot of repair work needs to be done. And they pushed me back up here in North Dakota. Your casualties have got to be shooting through the roof. I'm up to 200,000 myself. There we go. Get down to Houston. Get down to Houston and this other port also. This is going to be about the widest my front line will go. I'm not concerned with Dallas. If the United States wants to grab that, that's fine. They just don't have the factories. It's going to kill them. They can't make it without holding on to Maryland and stuff. Thank you, Union of Britain. Nice. Okay, can we try for another push into St. Louis? Maybe. Let's see if I can get this terrain here. Get this forest to the west of it. That ain't working. How about here? No. That ain't working. That ain't working. That ain't working. How many more days? 9 more days. No, they're starting to harden up. Union of Burma joined the Eastern Syndicalists. Does he have the collapse national spirit yet? No, we still got the Fighting for America one. But we're going to have a ton of divisions freed up for the front line here in a second. Ooh, yeah, we gotta clean this up better. There it is. There it is. Canada just intervened. Okay, so I think that's a pretty good place to stop it. Or, you know what? We're going to bum rush Ottawa. So I guess at this time, though, let me talk about, before I forget, the Joseph Tyrell down here. So this guy has a very unique place in history. He is the only soldier to have fought Joseph, this guy, by the way, here, Joseph Tyrell, this is one who I'm talking about here. He's the only soldier in history to have fought for both the United States and the Soviet Union's armies. Now, the context of that was, so he was a Toccoa boy, pretty young one. In fact, I believe he would have only been like 11, no, not 11, I think he would have been like 14 or 15 when the game starts, so that's a little weird that he's a general, but that's okay. So, he was a Toccoa boy, and he was over here in Europe, and as a paratrooper, he actually jumped into Nazi-occupied France twice before D-Day because he was delivering gold to the French resistance. And when actual D-Day came, so he's part of the invasion of Normandy, and like a lot of the paratroopers on D-Day, he ends up having to jump early because they're taking enemy fire, and so he ends up somewhere where he's not supposed to be, and he's separated. So he's just committing some sabotage for a few days in Normandy until he gets captured by the Germans. So then he gets sent into a POW camp in Germany. And he spends a few months getting transferred to different camps until he finally manages to escape successfully. And so he heads east to meet up with the Russian army and the Soviet army, and he runs into this tank brigade led by none other than the Alexandra Samusenko, who was the only, allegedly, I don't know, I haven't been able to confirm this, but allegedly she's the only female tank, I was going to say female tankman, tank woman of the war under the Soviets. Really like a symbolic figure, but like she actually did serve in combat and in fact gets killed in combat. And so then he spends the next month fighting his way west towards Germany with that tank battalion and ends up liberating the former POW camp he was in. So then he goes to a hospital, and General Zhukov is visiting the hospital, and he finds out that there's a non-Soviet soldier there, that it's an American. And he like gets a translator and talks to him for a little while. And he says, well, geez, if you're American, we got to get you home. And so eventually they take him, or like they contact the U.S. Embassy in Moscow and they give him to him, but they didn't believe it because he had been Joseph here had been reported dead like almost a year earlier because he'd lost contact. Everybody thought he died, and so they put him under house arrest until they could verify he was really Joseph. They ended up verifying it with fingerprints, and then he went home and he had a very happy life and ended up getting married in the very church that they held his funeral in 2 years earlier. So really really interesting dude, but like that's it. Now Canada has intervened as I anticipated, and so Oliver's lambs here now must attack Canada, and we're going to have to rapidly make some changes to our deployments here. Dang, I'm really annoyed that at least the American Union state wasn't defeated yet, but I'll figure something out. I will see you in the next one. I'm Conquering History Games. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And geez, this king, he's like, Cindy's rage, just going wild on me, you know. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
They go wild, simply wild over me, and I've never done them harm that I can see. I'm as gentle as a lamb, but they take me for a ram. They go wild, simply wild over me. Oh, Big Mac, he went wild over me, and he held his gun where everyone could see. He was breathing rather hard when he saw my Union card. He went wild, simply wild over me. Then the king, he went wild over me, and I saw we could never agree. And the Entente obeyed what his conscience had to say. They went wild, simply wild over me. Oh, the kingfish, he went wild over me. I'm referring to Mosley and Pelly. Yes, they murmur in the sleep, they disturb my slumber deep. They go wild, simply wild over me. Will the roses go wild over me? when I'm gone into the land that is to be. When my soul and body part, in the stillness of my heart, will the roses grow wild over me? Well then God, he went wild over me.